This is probably the worst situation for a music producer or musician, wanting to start an instrumental or beat with zero inspiration. It's very frustrating and it can be a real motivation killer. This is why in this video I want to give you solutions to fix this problem and stop freezing when it comes to start something. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and if you have any questions, post them in the comments. Okay, the first thing you can do when you lack inspiration to start an instrumental is simply to come back to basics. You know, we as music creators sometimes want to overcomplicate things and convince ourselves that using simplicity is not challenging and won't bring our music where it needs to be. But sometimes simplicity is what our music needs to create unique things afterwards. So just grab a basic piano in your DAW, choose an accessible BPM like around 120 and just play something super simple like a basic chord progression, and you will see that most of the time when you do that, it unlocks creative obstacles. This technique will allow you to just have something to work on and move on with your instrumental. Another solution might be to start with the bass line. When we create a beat or an instrumental, we generally start with a chord progression or jump pattern, and then we build something around it. But sometimes it's just not inspirational and it gets you nowhere. So if neither a jump pattern nor a chord progression inspires you, you can try to explore another instrument that is in all the songs of the world, which is the bass. Just try to build a rich and powerful bass line that gets you excited just listening to it in solo. And from there, you can build something around your bass and get something that might be out of the box. 3. Start with a loop. I know a lot of people don't love to start an instrumental in this way because they feel like by using a loop that everyone has access to, they don't create anything special. But first, we have to keep in mind that we live in 2024 and the way we produce music is becoming even more efficient, accessible, and fast thanks to the tools and technology we have access to. And if you're the one not using these tools, well, chances are you're gonna get eaten up by the competition and not get noticed. And secondly, the loop you're gonna use for your instrumental is not your instrumental. It's only a part of it, something that will help you move on with a solid foundation. And also, there is nothing to stop you making the loop your own, changing its tone, timing, or cutting it up as you wish. So whether it's a drum loop or a melody loop, it can be a very efficient way to start an instrumental. Another efficient way of starting a beat is to use a pre-made MIDI file. The kind of MIDI files I'm talking about are the ones that you can find online, such as the Unison MIDI chord pack or Nico's MIDI chord pack, that build chord progressions for you to use them with your favorite VSTs. And the cool thing about these MIDI files is that first you can modify them as you wish and choose another direction than the one the MIDI file gives you. And also, I think you can learn a lot from these chord progressions because in most of these MIDI packs you can find complex chord progressions that you wouldn't even think of creating if you don't know a lot about music theory. So yeah, the Unison MIDI chord pack and the Nico's MIDI chord pack are two packs you should check if you want to explore this method. Number 5, try to get inspiration from a vocal loop. Earlier in this video, I talked about the technique of using a loop as the foundation of your instrumental, but here, the process is totally different. What you're gonna do here is use the vocal loop as a source of inspiration, not as a part of your instrumental. So all you have to do is import a vocal loop from Splice or any other platform where you can find samples and loops, ideally something inspiring for you, and build a chord progression around this vocal loop. From there, you can add a drum pattern or other elements that will lead you somewhere. And as soon as you have a more precise idea of what your instrumental will look like, you can simply remove the vocal loop and keep creating. This one is a technique I use a lot in my productions, and I gotta say that it works really well for me. Before we move on to the next point, if you've enjoyed this video so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel to watch more content like this one let's continue the video. Another solution can be to sample existing songs. This one's especially efficient for those of you who are in rap and hip-hop music, because let's not forget that this is how rap music was born. Back then, DJs and producers had no other options than sampling. And I think this technique, compared to the other techniques I'm talking about in this video, keeps something unique and rich in the result it can produce. I would say that the only drawback of this technique is that it can be difficult to master and use for your productions. It may require a lot of training to get something good and harmonious. Also, you gotta be very careful not to steal producers' rights and make sure to clean the sample before you release anything. If you want to explore this production technique and be sure to avoid any copyright problems, I recommend you visit the platform TrackLib, which allows you to download songs for sampling super handful. Number 7, trying to use beatboxing to find a rhythmic bass. Sometimes when you try to start with a rhythmic pattern in your DAW with a sampler or anything you use for your drums, it can be very difficult to find something that's inspiring for an instrumental. While when you try to find a rhythmic pattern with your mouth, even if you're not good at beatboxing, you can sometimes find amazing rhythms. All you need to do is take your smartphone, open up the voice memo app, and let your beatbox do the rest. Even if this technique might look a bit weird, I can promise you that you can have very good results by doing this. The next technique will be using an arpeggiator. For those who don't know, an arpeggiator is a tool that you can find in many VSTs that allows you from a simple chord progression to play each note of your chords one after the other with a certain logic in the sequence. And even if it might look a bit trivial, it sometimes opens up new creative doors and lets you get the inspiration you need to start an instrumental. There are many types of arpeggiators. You can set it up to down, up and down, random. You can also make it play at different rhythms and cover one or more octaves. My only advice is to try different things and see what happens, because you can sometimes have very good surprises with arpeggiators. Another efficient solution when you don't find inspiration is to recreate an existing chord progression. This one might seem a bit like cheating, and I agree, it's a bit like stealing an idea, but when you're really short of inspiration, this technique can be very powerful and completely unleash your creativity. So yeah, just go listen to your favorite songs or songs that gives you inspiration, recreate the chord progression in your DAW, move it up or down, and now you have no excuse left. You have something to work on for your instrumental. And don't worry, people will never know that you stole the chord progression from another song. Like, honestly, many songs use the same chord progression and it's okay, nobody blamed them for this. And the very last thing you can do if you like inspiration is singing something. Like right now, what would you sing as a melody? Just try, do the test, and you will see that sometimes just by letting your internal creativity run wild, you find yourself singing stuff you don't even know where it comes from. Personally, I'm the worst singer of the century, but when I use this idea, most of the time I think, that's inspiring. I can definitely make something around this. Like, voice is the most powerful instrument you can find, so don't be afraid to use it. With all these solutions, you should have everything you need to never again be short of inspiration when it comes to starting an instrumental. Don't ever be afraid to let your creativity run wild. And remember that music is art, an expression of yourself that must shine through to achieve the most impressive results. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments. I'll be very happy to answer them. Before you leave, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel to watch more content on music production. See you soon. Bye-bye.